Hi everyone. So you have done pretty good work this week and in completing the assignment. I am really happy that people actually tuned in. Please check the assessment folder. I've actually put down the grading method that I used and have required you to go and grade yourself. Now, while you are taking a look at that and thinking, oh my God, the grades are out, and oh my God, how's it going to be for the rest of the semester? Don't worry too much about grading. The actual exercise, the exercise that I gave you was to find 5 nations that you're going to become an expert on. That is a far more important issue here than the grade you got in your first assignment. Nonetheless, the assessment self-evaluation assignment that you now have is to go and grade yourself and figure out ways in which you could have improved, and to make those improvements in the next 10 days. You have the opportunity till September 10th to improve your grade. Please make the correction if you can. But the big picture is that you did identify 5 nations that you're going to commit yourself to over the semester. Now, this is a huge commitment. You cannot call a novice learner in a topic an expert. I still use that word because I want to empower you to exceed your own expectations. So I will give you little exercises over the semester where, if you look in the syllabus, you'll see under each assignment there should be questions that you're supposed to answer. In those, you'll see 1 or 2 questions are dedicated to the 5 nations that you're developing an expertise on. So take that as an opportunity to go into the newspapers that you're supposed to be looking into and read those newspapers. Sit at home at the end of the day when all your exercises for other classes are over and take a look leisurely at the newspapers. Okay? This is just me forcing you or rather pushing you into the arena of international relations. That's where it's happening. And why do we say that? Why am I saying that? Because, newspapers, the media, that's where people are talking about politics and shaping ideas of people, and those ideas are in turn affecting politics, right? If public opinion was unimportant, in the election year, then why are people being polled around the country? Why are political parties concerned with what people are thinking? Public opinion is important, and who shapes public opinion? Newspapers, right? So read newspapers, learn what the media wants you to know about other nations. That doesn't mean that all the information is coming from the media. Some of the information comes from self-immersion or from people that you will meet on a day-to-day basis, right? You probably have international students in your class. You probably have some family member who is an immigrant, who probably came from parts of Europe or Asia or Africa or Latin America. You probably know somebody, you met somebody in school or where you were working or where you are working, who can speak more than one language. So you're not just learning about international relations from a bunch of newspapers. International relations is not just about states communicating with each other or reacting to each other. It's about people too. It's about how my experience as an international student in the United States has shaped my values and how I react to news in the United States. It's about how you react to not just news about, what's happening around the world, but when you listen to a song that's international, what idea do you get about another culture? When you are learning a second language or a third language, as many of you are, how does that make you feel about another country or another culture, or about fellow students at NAU? Do you feel any different now that you've started taking beginning Arabic or beginning Chinese? So international relations is happening in a myriad of ways. The other big people in the picture, and by people I'm putting that in quotes, you can see that, are organizations and corporations. People by themselves individually cannot do a lot in international relations, right? I mean, my opinion of George Bush or Obama or Osama bin Laden doesn't really matter as an individual. But when people get together, they might be organized much more powerfully. And that doesn't mean just, people voting together, which is also a very, very powerful act, but also taking to the streets together, marching against a war, or protesting higher taxes, or anything, just going to the street or protesting, certain kinds of state laws, whatever they might be. Those are all acts of international relations where individuals are taking part in international politics. I would put that under kind of the lower level international relations in some respect, because we consider higher level politics to be state politics. States getting in touch with each other through, say, the United Nations or the World Bank or the IMF or NAFTA or WTO, which is the World Trade Organization. States taking part in these international governing bodies and debating things out together, or deciding things by sitting together in an open forum and talking. That's another kind of international relations. That's at the higher level, at the state level. The other kind of international relations is through corporations. Corporations are taking jobs around the planet. Do you remember the number of times you heard corporations are leaving the U.S.? Since 2005, Michigan has been losing auto industry jobs to Canada. Can you believe that kind of information? Because generally speaking, you would think that Michigan was losing auto jobs to India, maybe to Mexico, to Germany and China, but you don't hear Canada. I mean, there's so much happening around the planet. Then look at the situation in the Southwest. You have a huge uproar against undocumented workers who are in the U.S.